Okay, now we're ready to venture into the land of acrylic paint. So you're going to be needing these paints, your paint brushes, a cup of water, some paper towels, your sketchbook. We'll be mixing colors today, and a plate to mix your paint on. Acrylic paint is non-toxic, so don't worry about it being on your plate. We will wash it clean when we're all done. If you don't want to use a plate, you could just use another piece of paper. Some surface to mix on will work. All right, so what we're going to do is move over to your paint mixing with acrylics. I would use one of your larger brushes, and you'll notice some of these are really stiff to begin with. They coat them with starch to keep it at a point and to keep the bristles pointed in the right direction. So all you need to do is really get it wet, and that should make it all loose again. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is similar to what we did with the colored pencil, but this time we're mixing paint. We'll be making a color wheel. All of this should be very familiar already. What we can do is just go ahead and fill in just what it says. You got red here, blue, yellow, and with our colors, we've already got a green, so you're not going to have to mix your green. We can just go ahead and fill that in. So I'm going to start with my lightest color. I'm going to go ahead and load my brush up. Fill that in. Again, try your best to stay inside the line. Notice that I'm not picking my brush up. I am just watching that edge touch the line. Now I'm running out of paint, so I have to pick it up and flip it over on the other side where I've got more paint. Once I put it down, I don't pick it up. I just watch the edge of my brush touch the edge of that line, and then just kind of fill in the rest. So when you go from one paint color to the next, make sure you clean your brush off. Kind of brush it on your paper towel, make sure it comes clean. I'm gonna cover this up and go to my red. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill those 4 in that I already have. All right, now I'm ready to start mixing colors. So, you know, we already know blue and yellow make green. So green and yellow are gonna make this yellow green. Green and blue are gonna make this blue green. And when I mix colors, whenever you are mixing colors with paint, you always wanna start with the lighter color first. So let me clean my brush off. Make sure it's coming clean. I'm gonna start with my yellow, and I'm gonna scoop up a little yellow because yellow is much lighter than green. I'm gonna place that on my plate. I don't need a lot, just a little bit. Clean my brush out. Make sure I get all that yellow out because I don't want to contaminate the colors that I have up here. And I'm going to take just a little bit of green, because dark colors go a long way. This green, this little bit, is going to change that yellow pretty quickly. So you start with the lighter color, and then you get just a little bit of the darker color and mix it in and see where that gets you. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that in. And I'm looking for kind of a lime green to fill in between these 2 colors, kind of a middle color. And I think that looks pretty good. So go ahead and fill that shape in. Okay, and as I go around, I could start fresh and, you know, get my green and add a little blue to it, but I want to save a lot of this paint. I don't want to waste a lot. So I'm just going to take what I already have. This is going to be lighter than my blue. And then I'm going to clean my paintbrush off. Make sure you get the bristles clean. Just kind of dab it. I can see that I still have a little bit of green on there, so I need to clean it a little bit better, and I should probably change my water out pretty soon. All right, that's much better. Now I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of blue, because blue is really dark. Wipe some of that off, and I'm going to mix it in here. Let's see. I think I could use just a little bit more blue. Let me clean my paintbrush off. Get a little bit more. I think I might have too much, so I'm going to put some on the side and just mix what's on my brush here. I think that looks pretty good. I'm looking for a color that fits in between these two for a blue-green. I actually think I need a little bit more green. It's getting a little too blue. So while it's still wet, I can do that. Clean my brush off. Let me clean my brush out and get just a little bit more blue. And this time I'm going to mix it directly on my paper because it's starting to dry out a little bit. But I can mix it in if it's still wet. I'm going to move this around so I have another place to mix. This time I'm going to mix my yellow and my red. I'm going to start with yellow and then add my red because yellow is lighter than red. You always start with a lighter color. Let me change out my water. It's getting kind of nasty. All right, that looks like a pretty good orange in between them. Actually, I think it's got a little too much red in it. This might be a good red orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it here because I know that where that's gonna go. And since I've got it mixed up, I might as well use it. All right, now let me clean this off. I need a little bit more yellow, I think, to put in my orange for a good color that looks like it fits right in between the two. And then finally, I need more yellow into what I have here to make a good yellow orange. So again, I need to clean my brush out before I dip into my yellow to add a little bit more yellow. Okay, and now we're going to mix the reds and the blues over here on this side. I'm going to start with red because red is lighter than that blue. I need to make sure I clean this out really well. And I'm going to get just a tiny bit of blue, just a little bit. Now this color is more of a red violet. It's not quite violet, so I'm going to put this right next to the red since I have it. I think it could maybe use just a little bit more blue even for that red violet. So let me clean my brush, lots of cleaning. Clean my brush out before I put it into my blue. Still got some red in it, so might have to change out my water again. I think that's a little bit better for a red violet. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit more blue as I head this way towards the blue. So for violet, I need a little bit more. Okay, and then finally for the blue violet, just a little bit more blue. So it's like a rainbow in a circle. I think I need a little bit more blue. Okay, and there you go. So now you can make sure you clean out your paintbrush, and when you allow your paintbrushes to dry, you should leave them flat. And then you can take this under the sink and clean that off. Make sure you close the lids on here tightly so they don't dry out. And then finally, make sure this is dry before you close it. If you close it while it's wet, it will dry together like that. You won't be able to peel it. So if you're in a hurry, you could blow dry it. If you don't have to be in a hurry, you can just leave it out like it is and let it dry on its own.